this is a 2.5 bottom end, JDM big port, chamber matched cylinder heads, which I did. JDM 5-speed STI transmission. The brake system is 4-pot fronts, 2-pot rears from WRX Hawkeye. Front mount intercooler, specifically made for the Impreza chassis, or GC8 I should say. So I was hired to tune this vehicle on the street. So let's see how this video turns out. This is base tune on this for braking, and so it's pretty solid for drivability as is, because it is speed density, but I've already spent the time for tuning drivability. But it has not had a virgin pole yet, so it's about to happen. Alright, so setting up the parameters initially. These are very Subaru specific, so air fuel correction number 1 is important. Air fuel sensor number 1. Battery voltage is good. A lot of fueling can be off if your alternator is failing. So you got to keep tabs on your voltage to make sure that your alternator is functioning. Coolant temp, engine load for MAF cars, but this is speed density, so I'm not logging that one. Engine speed obviously is important. Fine learning, not correction. And ignition advanced multiplier. Ignition total timing. Intake air temp sensor. This is a non-ABCS engine, so these two are not of any use. Variable valve timing, left and right. And then manifold, actually relative pressure and absolute pressure. Relative pressure is basically manifold pressure. Mass airflow normally, but again, this is speed density, so we're not we're not logging that parameter. And then maximum wastegate duty cycle. Vehicle speed and throttle opening angle. Let's see, what else? What else am I doing here? Fueling final base is another good parameter to run, so we'll save that one. Oh yeah, wideband is another very important parameter. So yeah, looks like we got that guy going. Save the logging location. Then go for a virgin pole. When it comes to, see, this is what I shoot for. drivability to make sure that airfield correction is as close to zero as possible. So slap this thing on my head and let's go for a drive or a short log. And when doing pulls, I like to do it in increments to make sure that it does not run into an unsafe condition and continues through the pull, because that's how you blow stuff up. And I've never blown anything up, and I want to make sure that that it stays that way. I don't believe this car will be making so much power that we'll have traction issues. Like I said, the owner requested it to be conservative, so we're gonna do just that. Crack 400 maybe and go from there. How I'm monitoring power output, even though I'm tuning on the street, is using virtual dyno. Which is the section of the street where I'm using is flat, meaning it's got no bumps, and it's straight. As a result, the numbers tend to be very accurate. I've tuned cars on the street and compared the dyno numbers from virtual dyno to when later being verified on a dyno jet, and it was basically the same numbers. So I feel like it's very accurate. Some air on the intercooler and into the engine through the scoop. Top mount intercooler. This car has a front mount, but to make sure that it is not heat soaked. Cooler today, so I'm not too worried about heat soak, but I still wanted to make sure that it gets some air through it. Pull I'm gonna do from 2,000 to 3,000 RPM. If if the data checks out, then we'll work my way up towards the red line. Alright, logging. So I'm gonna pull over. Check the log, make sure it's not too lean, and then we'll do the next one. Okay. So, let's see what we got going on. So, looks like it hit about 4 pounds. And got no knock so far. Let's see what the wideband's reading. Got the wideband here. Very, very appropriate fuel mixture. Could be leaner on spool up, but not worried about that. I'll take care of that once I get into the meat of the boost. Basically, we'll touch things up as needed. Okay, so on to the next pull. So, Virgin pull number 2, moving up to 3,500. I forgot to remove the rev limiter for break-in, which was set to 4,000. So, but it looks like this turbo hits right at 4,000. That one felt like it was. I took it a little higher than I intended to, but right at 4,000, it felt like it started to really move. So I'm gonna check the log here in a sec. For break-in, I I always limit the engine speed to around 4,000, just because you can get there so quickly, and even over 4,000. And you don't want that to happen. Like, it went from 0 boost to full boost in like a split second. So let's see what's going Okay. So what do we got for boost? Yeah, we went. Looks like our fueling is really good, actually. But I've also tuned a couple of these 2.5s. This does have JDM cams, so it's base map gets me close, but a little. I mean, this isn't a lot of boost, so the mid to high 11s is fine. But yeah, main thing is no knock. I don't intend to see knock. My base maps are always solid, as long as it's got decent gasoline in it, which this appears to. So I'll remove the red line, the 4,000 RPM red line, and then move up to 4,500 RPM, which I think it's. I thought it might have hit full boost, which I'm not sure. I think the gate pressure on this is like 18 pounds, but it only hit 11, mid 11. But at mid 11, it still felt like it started to really move. So, let's pull up the map here and get my green test mode connectors. Just so I don't have to get under, I made a custom switch. Which this actually has it on the driver's or passenger side, because it is a ECU swapped Impreza, so things are a little different. And if I'm not mistaken, this is JDM harness. I could be wrong. So things are on weird sides, like the OBD2 port, as you can tell. So what these little green test mode connectors do is enable you to flash the ECU. Specifically for the older vehicles up till 2007. Gotta make sure that my vehicle selected. Yes. And then key on. With these older ECUs, you have to be really quick about turning the key on and pressing OK, otherwise it will not flash. I remember I'm reading the map because last time I made some fine changes without saving the map because the laptop froze and I sent the car, so I want to work off of the latest copy. So instead of using the map that I had on the computer, I'm pulling it off of the vehicle. Okay, so rev limiter. And this is a Carberry patch, fairly popular ROM for the bug eyes, and lets you do a lot. You could run flex fuel, a bunch of stuff, speed density like this vehicle, or hybrid MAF. Lets you control your methanol injection. So this is a fairly nice patch with a lot of features. Very similar to that of some standalones. Let's see, where's our rev limiter? Popular spot for doing car stuff.
Excuse me.
What's up?
Is that thing fast?
Yes.
Yeah? What's done to it?
JDM STI 5-speed, 2.5 bottom end with chamber matched heads, precision turbo, 1000cc fuel injectors. I'm actually, it's not my car, I'm tuning it for someone.
Oh yeah?
So it just went through the break-in, and I'm doing the first power tune.
Heck yeah. I figured when I saw the GoPro, I thought
Yeah.
it was fast.
Yeah, no, this is, he asked me to keep it conservative, but this thing will make an easy 400 without sweat.
That's sick.
The turbo's capable of much more, but
The what?
the turbo is capable of a lot of power, but we're gonna keep things tame.
Yeah.
So,
Keep the motor in good shape.
yes,
Yeah. That thing's sick.
yeah. Nice Volkswagen.
Yeah.
Yeah, this thing gets lots of people's attention. Looks like my definition file's jacked up because I am not seeing the rev limit, so I normally use ECU Flash for editing, but I'm gonna switch over to ROM Raider. Okay, so we pop this bad boy open in ROM Raider. Boom. Yep, and there it is. So we're gonna probably keep this under 7,500. And at this point we can call it revision 1. Okay, I always like to test right. Just because funny things happen, so. Can happen, I've seen. I always like to test right just to make sure it is able to read. So basically it does a test run to make sure everything goes through before the actual hard write. Cool. All right. Key off. Disconnect the grains. And off we go to do another log. Oh. Okay. Safety first. Tuned these precision stock location turbos, so I'm really looking forward to what this will do power wise. For what I'm planning on boost wise, well, start with the gate pressure, which I believe should be around 18 psi or so, and then see what kind of numbers it makes on gate, and then go from there. If it cracks 400, might just leave it. Not sure about this JDM 5-speed. I know nothing about them. I know that the bug-eye transmissions are are notorious for blowing up, although I have tuned a couple of them that still alive to this day, making over 500 horsepower at the wheels. I think the saving grace of those transmissions is the fact that the turbo spool's so late that it doesn't load up the gears, the teeth on the gears, the same way a quick spooling turbo would. So but it's not uncommon to strip the teeth off of the gears with basic bolt-ons, you know, on your bug eye. Basically 2002 to 2007 WRX. The 06 and 07 have it even worse because the final drive is taller, so it puts more stress on the gears. Okay. So here we go. 4,500. No knock. I could see that right away. I don't think it hit 18 pounds, but that's okay. Yeah, it looks like it hit 13 pounds? Once I'm able to do a full sweep up to redline, then things speed up from there because I don't have to incrementally work my way up. But I just want to make sure it's safe and I don't blow anything up, so you can't just, you know, blindly do a pull to redline because something can happen. If it's a little lean, mainly if it's lean, timing. I always am very conservative with ignition timing for both pump gas and the 85. But it could run a little lean, which would induce detonation. Let's see. Yeah, so 13 pounds. What does our wideband show? And of course it was not logging. Okay. Because go 5,500 now. So I think this turbo will reach full boost right at 4,000. In fact, when I start increasing boost, I think it's going to spool faster, and I can manipulate the wastegate duty cycle to try and get it to spool faster. But even at 13 pounds, this thing moves pretty well. Very well. need to get me one of these. I really do. This is so fun, honestly. This is more fun than my Evo. It's probably gonna be faster with less power too. Okay, so our maximum boost is still 13 pounds. Our maximum RPM was 6,500. And what's the wideband showing? Perfect 11s. Cool. Well, let's make some adjustments. And flash the next revision. So when it's time to increase boost, what I'll end up doing is go up 10%. At that point, you should start to hear the wastegate chop. Well, even with just 10%, so. Yes, we are gonna target not that much. Target 23. Last car I tuned on the Carberry ran just about 29 pounds, and I used that map as a starting point for this map to cut down some time. So sweet. Okay. What's our so our fueling is definitely good. No need to make changes there. In terms of calibrating the VE, so I can go straight to, like I just did, increasing the boost. Actually, this was absolute, so what was the absolute value again? So this is probably very boring to watch, but 27 absolute, okay. So basically dead on. You know what? Let's go 15, just because. Okay. Of course, it helps to not be stupid. I will actually install these. I forgot the greens. So nice to deal with a CAN bus cars, not to have to mess with these greens. They are a pain to deal with. This actually isn't too bad because it's just on the passenger side. Here we go. Boom. We are good to go. Hot map. Just kidding. If we're lucky, this thing's gonna hit like maybe 16 pounds of boost. Freaking dumbass cable. Here we go. Laptop starts glitching. Gotta love it. Gotta love technology. Okay. Just from sitting there, I did notice that the intake air temperature sensor did get a little heat soaked, so just doing a little run to make sure it's reading true temperatures, to make sure that when I'm making my fuel calibration on the VE table, that I'm not working off of heat-soaked temps. That looks like it's a lot better. It's come down to about 70, which is a couple degrees above ambient. Okay. Clean pull, no knock. And what do we got for boost? Yeah, 14 pounds. I will cut down on some of this lengthy driving and just basically continue filming the ECU calibration itself and the poles. So okay, so time to up the boost and make possibly some VE adjustments based on the fuel readings on the wideband. Actually, we are very dead on. Okay, so looks like it's just gonna be increasing boost. Okay. So wastegate duty cycle. So going up to 15% didn't increase the boost a ton, so we're gonna go 25. Okay, time to flash the map. Actually, not flash, test write. And then if it goes through, the actual write. Okay. Cool. All right. Great. Okay, so another cool down run. Because it's heat soaked. A lot of speed density cars, when heat soaked, have starting issues because the intake temp reads higher than the actual air is, so it doesn't inject as much fuel. And that is the downside of speed density. The only downside, but it's not a big deal. So I am hoping that this next run is gonna hit 16 pounds, maybe. just such a fun car to drive. If this had AVCS, this would make even a better driver. I would expect the spool to be a little bit better, a couple hundred RPM, a little more low end torque. Not that this doesn't have enough as is, this is plenty. This drives amazing. This 5-speed holds, I think this would be I think this is a better match for this chassis because the 6-speed is a little heavier, so if trying to keep the weight down and it holds, then you know it's a better fit, better match. I think the 6-speed weighs like 250 pounds if I'm not mistaken, while the 5-speed weighs like 150. So all I know is I can comfortably lift the 5-speed on my own, and the 6-speed is a difficult task. All right, here we go. Right around 15 pounds or so. Most important part is no knock. Yeah, basically high 15s is what it hit, so take it higher, meaning more boost. Okay, so up the duty cycle a bit, and gonna touch up the VE a little bit. Let's see, what was the absolute pressure? Absolute was 30, 29, okay. Oh, stop it. so starting 5,000. $5,600. $6,000. $6,400. Yeah, at the the higher pressure, excuse me, this turbo picks up efficiency. I'm having to add some fuel to the VE map. So 68. $72. Just for safety. Boom. Okay. Sick. All right. Time to save. And flash. Okay, so that was test right, final right. Okay, let's see what we hit now. is, this thing is freaking awesome. I cannot imagine once I'm finally done with it. At 14 pounds, this makes about 300 at the wheels, but it just feels so much faster. The owner said that this car weighs 2,500 pounds with him in it. So, yeah, it's slightly heavier than a Miata, basically, and there's a lot of power for a little car, well, a light car, I should say. Chance to put my hands on something like this, it would probably be World Rally Blue, and I would probably build something rotated in twin scroll. This turbo actually in rotated format would do even better, because if you get a twin scroll hot side, spool will be so much faster. So much faster. Not that it spools late. I haven't even bothered to try and get it to spool faster. In fact, I think it might be beneficial if I don't, in case this 5-speed is torque sensitive. If I, you know, if the boost curve is gradual and not sudden, it's less stressful on the transmission. So, smooth power. Okay. No knock. We're at 17.5 pounds peak. Alright. Let's check the log, check the wideband. Okay, yep, good. Perfect. 11s basically. High 10s, low 11s is what I like to shoot for, personally. I will need to further touch up this mid-range over here, where it looks like the VE is still needing a little adjustment between like 4,800 and 6,000 RPM. Not a lot though. But actually, this has 2 VE maps, even though I'm disabling or flex fuel and meth is not enabled, but still, I just like to make sure that my okay, yeah, so that the fuel tables, excuse me, the VE tables are identical. Yeah, so it touches 17, and then it settles to around 16, revving it out to like 7,400 here. So okay, 4,831. Go. $5,200. We're really gonna make some adjustment to 102. We'll go 103. So volumetric efficiency table is just basically a three-dimensional efficiency table of the engine. You can see the high numbers are where the engine is most efficient at. So mid-range right here, as you can tell in the middle, the engine is very efficient, so it requires running higher VE values. Higher values open the injector longer, inject more fuel. And so I know my target is at 11, so I'm doing simple on-the-fly math to get it where I want it. So basically to be at 11. $6,400. Yeah, 6,400's dead on basically, so I'm not touching that. Actually, I will touch it just a little. Cool. Okie dokie. Just touch things up a little. Make sure things are smooth. Okay. Great. 45%. So actually, I know I randomly said precision turbo without being more descriptive. This is the 58mm precision stock location bolt-on turbo, which I believe is pretty much the same turbine wheel and compressor wheel as the standard fitment precision 5858 Gen 2, I believe. I think it's a 7+7 compressor. Great. Test right. Oh, great. Looks like my OBD2, USB receptacle's busted. I need to take care of that. Okay. This pole to be a pole. Alright, I'm hoping this will hit 18 psi. back knock correction on there, so we'll have to address that. It's just 2 degrees. 19 pounds peak. Basically 19 flat, so now I see what was up with the knock there, and actually looks like that was probably on tip end because it's knock free. Yeah, and my fuel is really, really good. So looks like, so it touches 8. It touches 19 briefly and settles at around 18 pounds, 18 and a half, all the way out to 7,400. So that's good. So the only change I'll make is I will increase boost a little more. I think it'll probably touch 21 pounds. And probably settle at like 19. And probably call it. Okay, time to flash the map. So that's basically the process of tuning for these Subarus, at least with a stock ECU. Not a whole lot to it. You may notice I haven't touched anything timing related just because there is enough timing there that EGTs aren't high, at least from my experience. And it does not detonate. Once I've finalized the tune in third gear, then I'll do a couple hits to make sure that it doesn't detonate under continuous load. So knock, so we're good there. Oh man, this thing is freaking quick for what it is. This thing's insane. This the gear ratios of this transmission really match this turbo, the whole power band. Wow. Can't even talk. Shifting into second gear, it felt like it was gonna lift off. I mainly did that first through second to see if there's any shift knock or anything like that. Sometimes the low load ignition mapping needs to get touched up a bit so that coming back into load there isn't too much ignition timing and not too lean, because it'll cause a detonation event and that would carry into the pole. That wouldn't result necessarily, basically you wouldn't see it otherwise doing like a pole through the entire RPM sweep. But yeah, so far I am speechless. I'm about to check the log and maybe give it another pound. By far, this is the most fun thing that I've tuned and the most fun thing I've driven, period. I just can't hold back my happiness from this thing. Okay, so I'm touching things up. I'm not normally. I'll try and increase the wastegate duty cycle before before spool to keep the gate closed, but this thing spools so well as is. I'm not gonna do that. Again, I'm worried about the 5-speed. Not really, but it's at the back of my mind. So giving it a little here and there, touching things up. Gonna clean up the VE map a bit more, and that'll be that. Yeah, this thing moves extremely well. This thing is insane. So far it's at 420, so we'll keep it there. Okay. So 5200. What do we got? 35 and change.